Selamat pagi Bapak, Ibu, dan rekan-rekan dosen. Salam damai sejahtera untuk kita semua. Perkenalkan, nama saya Catharina Brameswari. Saya adalah dosen di program studi S1 Sastra Inggris, Universitas Sanata Dharma. Bidang ilmu yang saya tekuni adalah sastra, dan di program studi Sastra Inggris, saya mengajar mata kuliah seperti Business Writing, English Conversation, Culture of English Speaking Nations, serta mata kuliah analisis sastra yang meliputi Introduction to English Literature, English Poetry, dan juga English Drama. Bidang ilmu yang di video ini, saya akan menjelaskan deskripsi dan pengelolaan kelas untuk mata kuliah Introduction to English Literature yang meliputi 3 aspek, yaitu delivery, interaction, dan assessment, atau yang disingkat dengan DIA. Mata kuliah Introduction to English Literature merupakan mata kuliah wajib tempuh dengan kredit 3 SKS. Dan mata kuliah yang ditawarkan di semester 3 ini memperkenalkan mahasiswa pada bidang sastra dan juga karya-karya sastra yang ditulis dalam bahasa Inggris. Introduction to English Literature dirancang agar mahasiswa dapat memiliki gambaran umum mengenai makna, konsep, dan genre sastra, serta metode dan strategi untuk menganalisis teks sastra. Dalam mata kuliah ini, mahasiswa mempelajari 3 genre karya sastra, antara lain adalah prosa, puisi, dan drama, serta mereka berlatih untuk merespon dan menganalisis intrinsic elements dari ketiga genre tersebut. Selain itu, mahasiswa juga dikenalkan pada berbagai jenis metode kritik sastra dan berlatih menerapkan metode tersebut untuk memahami teks-teks sastra yang akan mereka pelajari di kelas. Di akhir perkuliahan, di mata kuliah ini, mahasiswa diharapkan dapat menjelaskan antara lain nature, elements, serta jenis-jenis sastra, dan menerapkan metode serta strategi analisis sastra untuk menemukan makna tersurat dari sebuah teks sastra. Selain itu, mahasiswa diharapkan dapat menjelaskan nature dari puisi, prosa, dan juga drama, serta menunjukkan pemahamannya terhadap jenis-jenis teks tersebut. Mata kuliah ini juga mendorong mahasiswa untuk menghormati, membangun sikap positif, serta menghargai permasalahan kemanusiaan yang ditampilkan oleh penulis dalam ketiga genre sastra tersebut. Introduction to English Literature dirancang untuk meningkatkan kepercayaan diri mahasiswa dengan hasil analisis teks sastra yang mereka lakukan. Karena dalam mata kuliah ini, mahasiswa selalu kami dorong untuk selalu percaya diri, berpikir kritis, out of the box, dan mampu berdinamika dalam kelompok untuk memecahkan permasalahan yang mereka temukan dalam teks karya sastra. Topik-topik mata kuliah Introduction to English Literature dirancang untuk ditempuh dalam 16 pekan, termasuk 3 kali kuis dan 2 kali ujian. Materi pembelajaran meliputi beberapa topik umum, yaitu pemahaman pada arti sastra itu sendiri, dan jenis-jenis sastra yang meliputi nature, elements, dan basic concept of literature. Selanjutnya, pada pembahasan mengenai puisi, the nature of poetry, diction and imagery, figurative language, serta tone, theme, sound, dan sense dibahas pada pertemuan ketiga sampai ke-6. Pada 4 pertemuan berikutnya, genre prosa dibahas dengan berfokus pada the nature of prose, characters, settings, dan plot, point of view dan tone, serta literary devices. Dan pada pertemuan ke-12 sampai ke-15, mahasiswa mempelajari the nature of drama, literary devices in drama yang meliputi aside, soliloquy, monologue, dialogue, prologue, epilogue, serta character dan characterization. Kemudian, Yang terakhir adalah teori mengenai staging dan yang terdiri dari stage direction, serta time dan place setting, dan language of drama seperti non-verbal language dan theme juga diperkenalkan dalam genre ini. Referensi yang saya gunakan dalam kelas ini antara lain adalah buku-buku yang ditulis oleh Abrams, Jones and Art, serta Barnett and al. Selain itu, hasil penelitian dalam artikel jurnal juga digunakan untuk memberikan contoh analisis sastra dan dalam bentuk academic writing. Sistem pembelajaran dan metode perkuliahan yang saya gunakan dalam mengampu mata kuliah ini adalah pembelajaran tatap muka. Selama 2-3 tahun akademik terakhir ini, mata kuliah Introduction to English Literature telah memanfaatkan Learning Management System atau LMS yang dimiliki oleh Universitas Sanata Dharma, yaitu belajar.usd.ac.id, serta memaksimalkan penggunaan teknologi dan AI dalam mendorong kegiatan perkuliahan yang lebih berkualitas dan menarik. Kuliah Introduction to English Literature juga disampaikan dalam beberapa metode yang bervariasi seperti ceramah dan dialog interaktif yang memperkuat critical thinking mahasiswa, kemudian diskusi kelompok kecil dan kelompok besar, serta presentasi kelompok yang digunakan sebagai media untuk menyalurkan pendapat mahasiswa, aspirasi, dan kritik pada karya sastra yang dianalisis berdasarkan intrinsic elements-nya. Sistem penilaian dalam mata kuliah Introduction to English Literature meliputi kuis untuk tiap sub CPMK yang berbobot 15%, kemudian progress test 15%, dan midterm test 20% yang mencakup materi yang telah dipelajari sebelumnya. Selanjutnya, participation dan kelas performance yang dinilai berdasarkan keaktifan dan partisipasi dalam kelas, diskusi, serta kehadiran mahasiswa memiliki bobot sebesar 10%, presentasi kelompok 10%, dan final test sebesar 30%. Untuk progress test, quiz, midterm test, dan final test dilakukan dengan tes tertulis yang dilaksanakan di kelas. Baik rekan-rekan semuanya, marilah kita simak bersama rekaman perkuliahan yang telah saya persiapkan dengan topik mengenai imagery pada puisi yang disampaikan pada pertemuan keempat. Selamat menyaksikan. Good morning, everyone. Hello, how are you today?
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Good.
What about you, Helen?
I'm fine. Thank you, ma'am. How about you?
I'm great today. Thank you for asking. And what about you, Nadia, Naila? Are you and Bagus?
I'm fine, ma'am.
I'm fine.
Yeah, ma'am.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Thank you very much for coming and joining this class. Today, we are going to continue to discuss our next material, which is imagery. But before that, I'm going to check whether you are still remember what our material was about. Last week, we talked about the nature of poetry, but maybe 2 or 3 students can share their understanding, or maybe can mention 1 or 2 natures of poetry. You can raise your hand, or maybe you can turn on your microphone to tell me.
Can I
try? Yes, of course. Please, is it Naila or?
Yes,
yeah,
it's me.
okay. All right.
One of the nature of poetry is the use of figurative language to convey the meaning of the poem itself.
Wow, very good. Thank you very much. So it means that you listened to my explanation carefully last week. Thank you, Naila. After we review what we have learned last week, let me tell you what are the objectives of our meeting today. So the first one, after we talk about the nature of poetry, we are try to talk about imagery. And in the end of this meeting, so you are expected to be able to point out the imagery used in the poem. As I have told you before, that today we are going to talk about Sonnet 130 from William Shakespeare. So I hope that you have read the poem at home and also watched the one video about imagery that I have already prepared. So have you guys, by the way? So because you have read the poem Sonnet 130 by William Shakespeare, so we're not going to reread the poem in this meeting, but we're going to jump to the next activity or exercise. Actually, I have prepared some words or maybe adjectives. I hope that you have checked the LMS and to find the link to access and find this Canva file. Okay, all right. I have already see some students here. Okay, all right. All of you has already been here. So what you need to do in this exercise is to group or to put the correct word into the correct group. I mean, for example, the word hot. Is it related to visual imagery, or we need to move it to tactile, gustatory, olfactory, or auditory? What do you think, guys? Should I put the word hot into olfactory or auditory?
I think it's tactile.
Tactile. Okay, very good. So you know how to move the words, right? You need to click the color or the box and then drag the box into the correct group. So I will give you more or less 1 until 2 minutes to put the correct words into the correct group. Okay, I have seen that some of you already moved the box into the correct group. In this context, in this sense, Rotten should be put in the olfactory group. And also reek, smell, perfume, scent, they are in one group. And for the auditory, silence, sound, music, noise, and loud. Yes, that's great. They are in one group. Gustatory, acid, bitter, sweet, sour, and salty. Right. Soft, rough, hot, and cold. Yeah, and also, even though when we, see a cupcake and then we can smell it, we can also try to guess that it should be sweet cupcake, but we need to taste it first, before we decide that this cupcake is sweet or not, more or less. Tactile, soft, okay, rough, hot, and cold. And for visual, pattern, color, okay, dark, bright, and also size. Okay, thank you very much for joining this small game in grouping the word into the correct. So like the, exercise that we already had before in Canva, when you try to group the words into, or put the words into the correct group of imagery. So I want to ask a question first. Do you think that it is important for a writer or for a poet to use imagery in his or her writing or poem?
I think yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me the reason?
Okay, because by using imagery, the author can connect the meaning of the poem itself to the reader like
Mhm.
easily.
Okay, very good. That's a good point, Nadia. So in literary texts, especially in poetry, imagery is very important for writers because it can help readers to, what is it, to get the meaning easily, or also to feel what the writer feels at that time when he or she wrote the poem. And without imagery, the person that reads the poem will not be able to imagine the world in a specific way. It means that the specific way the writer intended or had in mind, yeah, of course. From the previous activity or exercise, the visual imagery here, it describes what uh, usually or maybe specifically is the what the writer see. For example, the color, the size, the shape, the pattern of an object, for example, of your clothes or of other clothes, and also brightness. While auditory, it focuses or describes what we hear, and also the music, for example, the noise, the sound. And gustatory, it describes what we taste, like what is it? The sweetness of a cake, for example, the salty fish that I had last Sunday, for example. And the tactile imagery, it describes something that we touch or feel. Maybe the texture of the furry friend that you have at home, or maybe the temperature when you touch the, what is it, cold computer, maybe when it is too cold inside the laboratory room, or maybe when you touch the hot pot in the kitchen, for example. And the last one is the olfactory. It describes what we smell, for example, the fragrance, the scent of the flower in your garden. And in this poem, you can find maybe most all senses used by William Shakespeare in describing or maybe in expressing his feelings, his what is it, his way in admiring his lover, maybe his wife or his girlfriend, because there is no, what is it, clear information who the person that is described. And from this poem, I want you to try to find the imageries. I have already prepared the activity in Padlet. What you need to do is to work in groups of 2 or 3, and then from your discussion, please write which line that highlights the visual imagery and which lines that highlight the tactile or maybe olfactory. You have more or less 3 minutes to analyze the poem and then write down which line that has the visual imagery and also gustatory, olfactory, tactile, and auditory imagery. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 examples are okay. So you don't have to write them all, only 1 or 2 examples. Okay, in 2 until 3 minutes, I will give you the opportunity to try to analyze the poem and write down the lines or maybe the part of the poem that has one of the imageries. Okay, you can work now. And I'm going to check in the Padlet whether you have already put or write down your finding. Okay, so all of you have already have found the imagery, or maybe because there is no example for gustatory imagery. Yeah, so yeah, you write it here correctly, Naila. Thank you. Yes, that's right. The poem does not contain any gustatory imagery because it focuses on the visual, tactile, olfactory, and auditory. From the visual imagery, okay, you already found all the visual imagery correctly? Like we can try to imagine how the mistress or mistress's eyes are is by, imagine or by seeing it directly. Like find the color of the coral to represent the color of the mistress's lips. Even the coral is far more red, like rather than the lips of the mistress. And then the black wires hair, the color of the roses. And for the tactile imagery, there are two. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. And the second one, my mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. Okay, what do you think, Bagus?
Yeah, so it's more to like we could imagine the person that Shakespeare probably wrote in the poem. So probably it could be to imply some texture of from the hair, like maybe it's coarse, like the wires. It's, it's not flat, it's not soft, but it's coarse or something like that.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, but what about when she walks, treads on the ground? Is it visual or tactile?
Based on my opinion, it's probably tactile because it's, but it's not like some texture or something. It's more like a movement than a touch, pure touch. Like it's a movement, a physical act of stepping on the ground.
Okay, so tactile is the imagery that is used to describe something that we touch or feel using our tactile sense. When it is related to the way she walks, that can create threads on the ground. So it's related to the visual imagery. But if it's related to the, it's okay. For example, how the hair, is described as a rough or soft hair, then we can, use tactile imagery for the first example. All right. Let's continue to discuss the olfactory imagery. Previously, I already mentioned that olfactory imagery is used to describe what we smell or what the poet smells, like the perfume, and then in the breath that from my mistress reeks. Okay, very good, Helen. Thank you. Nadia, OT3. There are two examples. I like to hear her speak, yet well I know. And the second one is the music, because auditory describes what and how the poet hears the music, or maybe the noise or the sound. Okay, so there are actually four types of imagery that are used by William Shakespeare in his poem, Sonnet 130. additional information from Naila because the poem is describing a person and it's quite hard to use stays as a way to describe a person. All right. Maybe if it's quite, what is it? Maybe if I can say that the poem is about cannibalism, for example, then yeah, it's possible to use gustatory imagery.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas and also try to find the imagery from Sonnet 130. But unfortunately, this is almost the end of our meeting today. But before we close our meeting, I want you to go to the LMS and then check the homework that I have put there. You need to read the poem If We Must Die and try to identify the words that appeal to the five senses and write them in the LMS. I have already put the poem in the LMS, If We Must Die. So I believe that there are some dictions and also imagery that is used by the poet to describe the struggle of the African people at that time in fighting for the oppression. And next week, we are going to discuss the result of your analysis by inviting some students to share. Any question about the homework?
No questions, ma'am.
No questions?
No questions, ma'am.
All right.
Not yet, ma'am.
If there is no question, can one of you or maybe two of you share your thoughts or response, or maybe share what material or maybe what interesting or important thing you have learned today? Anyone?
Maybe I can try, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, Naila.
So today we've learned about imagery, and personally, at first I thought there's only one kind of imagery, which is the visual imagery, but there's actually so much more and so much more types of imagery and how it's also related to the senses. And I think it's quite interesting that through the Sonnet 130 poem, we can understand this person that is being described only through words and the imagery itself. So I think it's really interesting and it's quite fun to explore the different types of imagery in the poem.
Okay, thank you very much for your opinion and also response to our discussion today, Naila. Statue. Okay, all right. Anyway, I want to say thank you for your cooperation today. Thank you for being nice. And thank you for joining this class. And don't forget that you have a homework. And next week, we are going to discuss it together before we talk about the next material in figurative language. Okay, thank you very much for coming and see you again next week. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Demikianlah gambaran perkuliahan untuk mata kuliah Introduction to English Literature. Semoga informasi yang saya sampaikan dan saya bagikan dapat menginspirasi dan berguna bagi rekan-rekan sekalian. Terima kasih atas perhatiannya dan sampai jumpa. Selamat pagi dan Tuhan memberkati.